Matty motorcycle fans, it's our lucky day yet again, because today we get to discuss Ducati's brand new redesigned Diavel 1260s. And we're trying to figure out exactly what this bike is, what it's supposed to be, and who it's coming after. Coming at you right now. Trying to figure out what this motorcycle is, what it's supposed to be, and what Ducati was thinking. Now, you know our friends at Ducati's, they're superbike machines. They race in MotoGP, they race in World Superbike, and then they build us a cruiser? Or is it a super naked? But what they try to do, no matter what, is build the biggest, the best, the fastest, the best handling with the most power. Still comfortable and still sounds amazing. Ducati absolutely overachieved on this bike. But perhaps the best place to start is to understand who they're competing against, who they're trying to sell this bike to, and who else is trying to sell bikes to them also. So I gotta call you out, Harley. You know we haven't always gotten along, but Harley just came out with a bike called the FXDR. And what that bike is a power cruiser on paper, which is what this is, a power cruiser. Lots of power, comfortable seating position, and upright handlebars. So what Harley did is they made this bike for $19,000 with 90 horsepower, but it weighs 670 pounds. Whereas this machine, a little more costly, right? $23,000 for this beautiful, incredible S model, which you absolutely have to upgrade to. This has 159 horsepower, but soaking wet, meaning full of gas, full of radiated fluid and coolant, oil, etc., weighs 550 pounds. So already we're over 100 pounds lighter, and there's no gas on the Harley yet. So we got a lighter bike with more power. Obviously, it's going to be superior. We'll get into the parts in just a little bit. Then I looked at the Rocket III from Triumph. Now, that's the same price, 22 grand. Also has 165 horsepower. You're gonna look at me, you're gonna go, but Matty, I don't understand. You said this one was the most powerful. How come they got 6 more horsepower than us? And the answer to that is because it weighs almost 150 pounds more. Dry, that Rocket 3 weighs 650 pounds. Wet, full of fuel and gas, near 700, huh? So again, points to Ducati. The last but not least is Yamaha's Vmax. Now, it's not super high-end like the Harley and the Rocket 3 from Triumph, but $18,000, that's about 5 grand less now, isn't it? So what I'm curious about is, well, what about the power? 170 horsepower. That's more than this again, but dry 683 pounds, which is a lot more than this. Probably full of gas, you're way up over 700 pounds. And I want to talk about it right now. We're going to do this nose to tail. You don't have the brakes, you don't have the suspension, you don't have the frame, you don't have the wheel, you don't have the electronics on any of those bikes. Just this one. Let's get to this nose. This version of Ducati's Diavel 1260 is the S model, which, again, folks, if you have the means, I highly recommend you get yourself this one. Reasons why. First and foremost, these brakes. Brembo M50 calipers. This bike shares a ton of parts with its super bike brothers in the Ducati family. So you have the same braking system that you have on a Panigale V4. Definitely upgrade yourself. Superbike forks, full Olin suspension, fully adjustable preload and compression. You can't beat it. Set it up for just the way that you want to go. These wheels, cast aluminum, one big stamp, as lightweight as you can get on a machine like this. Now, the styling. Obviously, you buy a Ducati, you want it to be sexy, and this one is. You get looks every time you're on it. I was out on the street on this thing. People really roll down their windows just to give me the thumbs up. But first and foremost, I love this headlight, that halo style. You still have your brights, you still have your low beams, but I think that little upside down horseshoe is the best looking headlight that you can get on the road right now. Now, if you can tell, wind protection is a little lackluster. I'm a big windshield guy. I got these goofy shoulders and a big old head with a helmet on, and it gets a little buffety, all right? Especially over the speed limit, we'll say. Definitely gets a little rough. On to the middle and this engine. On to the middle of this bike. Before we get into any of the details about the engine and the power, I just want to have a quick shout out to my buddies over there at Gold Coast Motorsports in New Hyde Park on Long Island. Thank you so much for letting me borrow your bikes. If you're in the market and you're looking for a high-end European bike, that is absolutely the place to go. They have Ducati, they have BMW, they have KTM, they have Aprilia, they have Triumph. You absolutely need to go visit and see what they got in stock that would fit you, your budget, and your riding style. There's something for everybody. Now, onto this machine. First, I gotta talk about the rider experience. The seat is lovely, holds you into place, absolutely cradles your bottom so delicately, so Italian-like. Now your view, you have a full LED screen that you get to look at, see your gear position. You have 3 rider modes, you have a low mode, you have a touring mode. I guess if you wanted to tour, you can go somewhere. And then you have sport mode, my personal favorite. Super tight throttle response. The wheel may or may not come up in first and second gear, but thank goodness it does have wheelie control, launch control, traction control, and ABS to keep you as safe as you can possibly be on a machine like this. Also, and we're gonna get a close-up for you, backlit handlebars. Now, Ducati a bunch of years ago got bought by the Volkswagen company, and if you've ever been inside a Volkswagen, there's big bright lights back behind the dashboard staring at you. Very similar on this. Very, very cool. I actually was surprised to see it. I have never seen it on another motorcycle. One thing to light up the dashboard, a whole nother thing to light up the handlebars. So cool. Thank you, Ducati. The rider position. Now, it does depend on your height and your inseam. For me, I'm 6 feet tall, got about a 33, 34-inch inseam. The reach to the pedals is a little bit short for me. I am slightly cramped. And the reach to the handlebars is ever so slightly longer than I personally would have it. But once you get rolling, this whole machine disappears. It is the most incredible sensation ever. The bike is just gone, and all you are is you have this amazing sound from the exhaust that we'll talk about when we talk about the booty, and you get this incredible thrust of power from this 1260 Testastretta engine that Ducati's been doing. It's their last V-twin they're gonna make, so if you love V-twins, this is definitely the one that you wanna be looking at. Whether you say it's a detuned 1299 Panigale engine or a bored out and stroked 1198, this is the superbike engine that they are so good at building. You definitely got to go get yourself one. At least take it for a test drive. If not, park this thing in your garage. Onto the booty. Onto the rear section of this bike. Most notably, you got to point out right away, 240 section tire in the back. That's what most guys get on a chopper, and those things are raked out and handle awful, whereas this thing handles incredibly. Ducati scientists, or whatever you guys want to call yourself, artists, you guys must have been stayed up all night thinking of how to make this 240 tire work and handle amazing, because it does. You can lean into any corner with a ton of confidence. I will say at the very edge, it does give you a little bit of a bump up, and it kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but the traction control is there to save you. I didn't have any problems. I didn't slip once. Just made me feel weird, but that's fine. I could get used to that, especially if I started owning one of them. Next has to be this exhaust. Now, I'm really big on swapping out exhaust for a better sound, but this bike sounds incredible just the way it is, and the little shorty pipes here, they kind of tuck underneath. You don't even know it's there. And at 550 pounds, it's not like you'd be saving that much weight by switching it out. Save your money, buy the S model, get it just the way that it is. Passenger accommodations are as luxurious as you can expect from a Ducati. It is technically has a touring mode. You can tour something on this very fast, but what we definitely have is nice comfy reach to that peg and a nice big seat here for everybody. I'm a huge fan of these license plate brackets that are coming over the wheel. It gives the butt a really sharp look without having to buy a fender eliminator after the fact. Very well thought out, very well done. Thanks, Ducks. You gotta finish off talking this bike with the rider experience. The way that this machine makes you feel, the performance that it offers you, the technology that it offers you. This is such an incredible machine with so much thought and care put into it. Now, if I have to think of any cons, anything that's kind of like, oh man, you know, I wish this was a little bit better. Runs out of gas pretty fast. You can get about 160 miles to a tank, which all of a sudden you're in like superbike world as far as fuel consumption. I don't know what the miles per gallon is, but per tank, you're really not getting that far. So that's why when I say touring, I guess you could tour your neighborhood very quickly, but you'd still only get but that far, all right? Then after that, everything else is wonderful. Like I said, it shares so many parts with its Superbike brothers. The performance aspect is really over the top for a machine like this. If you're looking at a Harley, or if you're looking at a Triumph, or if you're looking at any of its competitors, you definitely have to take a peek at this machine. I loved it. Everybody I showed it to loved it. It's really something special. So folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for checking out this brand new and amazing Diavel 1260s. Matty Motorcycle here. Like, subscribe, share this video, leave me a comment, tell me what you think. If you own one, tell me what your experiences have been, and also let me know what other bikes you want to see. We have the full line of Ducatis available to us at Gold Coast Motorsports, so make sure you check them out, check me out, and let me know what we want to talk about next. See you soon, everybody.
We ready for the magic? This is the best part as far as I'm concerned.